Hey, if you could watch this quick video, that'd be really great and help me out a lot. And if you like the content, then please go check out my Twitter where I post and upload a lot more. There are links in the description of most of my animated shorts and most of my other videos as well. So when you're done with this, you can go check those out, and I hope you enjoy the video. I am a small indie game developer and digital artist that wants to go into full content creation. So making a video like this is really big and new to me. I've seen a lot of other people creating different games and devlogs that really inspire me to make these types of videos and just truly try my best at game creation. Like I said, this is my first time making a video like this, and I don't really have the best mic or room to record, so the overall quality of this video will be a bit iffy. But I'm still gonna try my best and promise better quality in the future. But that's enough about me, so let's get into the video. Now, I'll say this here and now, this is not the beginning point of where I started making this game. In fact, the game has gone through a lot of changes and remade almost entirely. But I was told by Atria, go check them out by the way, that it's better late than never, so here we are. Right now I'm trying to get dialogue for one of the NPCs to work properly. The sun is an NPC in my game that teaches you the base movement in the game and is used to give the tutorial and context for the plot. That being that your bunny Blorb was kidnapped and taken into this castle that you now have to rescue her in. This is a pretty basic plot line, but I feel like the overall gameplay and stuff that actually goes into the game is a lot more important than the plot and whatever lore you come up with. If you have a good story but bad gameplay, then you might as well just be writing a book or something. What I want to happen here is the sun zooming into the player after you hit this little trigger, which after a couple failed attempts, I finally got working. And when it collides with the player, it starts to explain the game and what to do a little bit. After that, I just wanted to make it do the animations I made for it so that it doesn't feel as stale. So I made it so that when the sun collides with the player, it goes in the animation and stares down at the player as it speaks. Then I got to working on making the tutorial and making sure that it's obvious what the player needs to do to get across the gap. I wanted to go for a fairly easy way to introduce them to the dash and dive mechanics and a simple obstacle to overcome, so I made this. After that was done, I got to working on redesigning some of the levels to be super hard and precise while also having the unfair gameplay and more cheaty mechanics like Level Devil or Unfair Mario. But as I kept working on my game, I found it harder to come up with a way to combine these different game aspects while also making sure the levels were actually hard. So ultimately I scrapped the unfair part and went full in on the difficulty of the game. It was tough, but I still think I made the right call. As I was making level it occurred to me that I needed other obstacles in my game because there were now only 3 obstacles that the player had to move around. I knew I needed something else, so I got to the drawing board and started working. I had been thinking of making a platform that after the player steps on, falls after a bit of time, which is something most platform games like to use. I decided to go with a cool skull type sprite, and after experimenting with a bunch of different colors, I landed on a dark gray rather than the usual maroon everything else was. I think it turned out great, and I do really like how I did the skull sprite for the platform. After finishing the sprite and making sure the player can collide with it, I went to the events sheet and made it so that when the player collides with the skull, it puts the skull in an animation to show the player that something is about to happen and that it starts a timer. After the animation is finished, the skull starts to move down into a pit of spikes below, and when the timer is done, the skull deletes itself off screen. I then put this into the level and landed on a fairly simple level where you have to avoid the moving bats and saws and move quickly, or the platform that is below you will fall and drop you into the spikes. I wanted to make this level in particular very simple because it's only level 3 and the player is still relatively new to the game, so this will test their ability to make quick jumps and precise movements. I also went and replaced some of the platforms in another level with falling ones, because I was thinking it was something that was much needed, especially since the levels after this are going to be a bit harder and more complex. I then used it to redesign a segment in the next level that didn't really fit in my game that well due to the new direction I'm taking with it. I also used this as an opportunity to introduce another more complex mechanic that I made previously, where the player has to dodge fireballs and then parry the blue fireballs to get across. And I'm going to work on making a small tutorial section for something, or just something, to explain how this works, because for now the player has no way of understanding what to do there at all, and that is not something that I would want in my game. I then realized I had to heavily nerf the shooting skull because it shot way too fast for the player to be able to parkour off the attacks at all. After making the skull shoot slower, I had to nerf it again because the hitboxes on the fireballs were too annoying to deal with because of how they were getting angled. So I made the hitbox a square rather than a rectangle, and that's really all I did for this video. This video took me a while to make, so some support would have really helped me out. If you made it to the end of this video, then you should go check out my Twitter account where I post more about my games and art and my other unfinished game, Dash, that's out on itch.io. If you have any feedback or anything that you would like to say, please don't be afraid to speak up and leave a comment. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.